have to be honest, I had fully intended on posting the gameplay and a review for Garden Life sooner. My original plan was to post the first 30 days of gameplay and then review the game. We have another video planned to review what it's like 1 year in, so I wasn't too worried about putting out a more simplified review. But 30 days turned into 40, and 40 turned into 50, and you get the picture. Basically, I was too zoned in to playing the game and didn't want to leave just to write a review or make a video for it. Alas, I adore it too much to put it off any longer. Hi, my name's Lil, and this is my review of Garden Life. For those who haven't heard of this gorgeous title, it's a simulation and management game all about rebuilding and running the community garden. In the simplest terms, you'll get to plant a beautiful flower garden full of dozens of different types of flowers, colors, and yes, amazing decorations. You'll want to make sure you include a few types of flowers that the locals love though, as they'll be putting in constant requests that keep you busy, snipping off flower heads, putting together bouquets, and eventually even rebuilding the flower statues in town. In terms of the story, it was way more touching than I expected, and gave me that push I needed to finish the quests and help restore some hope and love to the little town. I will say that the ambiance and audio in the game is my favorite part. Nothing beats just staring at a well-decorated garden in the summer rain, waiting for seeds to sprout, and writing your review on it. Now that you have a decent idea of what the game is, let's talk about the gameplay loop and why it's so utterly addicting. As with most simulation games, Garden Life gives you the creative freedom of your very own plot, limited only by the amount of coins in your purse. The locals will toss you a few spare seeds to start and some tools in order to tend the garden. But past that, if you want the place to grow and thrive, you're going to need to pull out your clippers and get to snipping off the heads of all the flowers in sight. Don't worry, as morbid as that sounds, they all regrow. I'll add that it's a relatively quick regrowth period too, and while factors such as weather and if the flower is in their preferred season all impact that growth, you can still comfortably prune your plants without the fear of having to wait multiple days for them to grow back. The game focuses on giving you a surplus of plants, and believe me, you're going to need them. So if you play the game, you'll almost immediately understand why the regrowth rate is that high. I'm not going to spend even a second saying it's unrealistic because, if I'm being honest, if I had to wait days for the flowers to respawn, the game would be way less fun. I adore being able to strip my garden bare, replant the entire thing, and have it be regrown the following evening. If I wanted to wait for long growth periods, I'd just go stare at my own garden. And I already do that for enough hours a day, thank you very much. Let's move back to my comment about stripping the garden bare, because it was something I did over and over and over, and yes, over again. At first glance, you see the decorations offered in the shop, and the ones you can craft yourself at home. And you think, is this really enough decorations to make something unique to me? Well, I'll tell you how wrong I was the moment I started attempting to place things down and realized how much I could do. I could have frogs sitting in cast iron chairs, enjoying the afternoon shade of a gazebo, surrounded by bouquets of sunflowers, or ducks beside a toy boat pond, wearing cute sun hats and being suffocated by the smell of a dozen daffodils. Want to design an oriental-themed sitting area with tulip-lined planters and lilies lining a frog pond? You can do it. Hopefully that helps paint a picture of how simple becomes incredibly complex the longer you think about your possibilities. It's actually what had me playing the game past 60 days. The desire to make my garden a gorgeous paradise the exact way I wanted it, with jasmine plants scaling up massive pillars and beautiful bird baths lined with flowers. It was just a good time. We're not often offered these experiences in real life due to the incredible cost and work that goes into arranging them. And while I'm proud to have my own raised garden bed and joy for tending plants in real life, the ability to do so on an expedited scale and make a sample of my own dream community garden was a wonderful time. If you tend to be the person who needs a more definitive and linear experience that focuses on quests and achievements, then this might not be for you. But to those who want to exercise total creative freedom and make the garden of their dreams while learning about the locals and helping spruce up the village in the process, then it's a worthy experience for sure. I want to touch on one last feature before we move towards any complaints, and that's the mechanic of new colored seeds. Yes, your first day of stumbling on a pink glowing plant is an exciting one as that air of curiosity takes over, and you pick it up only to get a flashy graphic stating you found a new plant variety. It's my favorite mechanic in the game, and the joy of having a rainbow of different colored flowers everywhere is one that's hard to explain. I will state that it can be frustrating waiting for the different colors to actually bless you with an appearance, as certain statues in the town and certain flower requests will contain color varieties that you might not have. Patience is a virtue though, as eventually, with the right weather and conditions, you'll get a new seed variant to add that extra splash of color to the garden. Us, being who we are, must find one complaint, and so I shall. There was only one thing that dampened my pure love of the experience, and it was the fact that after I'd unlocked all the additional space, I hit my garden limit and was told that no further plants could be put down. This had me reevaluating my garden book and removing all the plants that didn't enjoy the current season I was in, and scaled down the amount of them that I had all around the place. It was at this point that I realized how much I needed to have decorations to keep the place from not feeling barren. So to those who want nothing but plants and more plants, sadly that's not a possibility right now. I can defend the fact that graphically, allowing an unlimited amount of flowers would probably fry most people's PCs. I'm lucky enough to have something with a bit more power, and even I avoided the ultra setting for the few bit of frames that dropped when my garden was maxed out with decorations and flowers. So the limit is there to be responsible with your computer's power, but at the same time, I say if they want to fry their PC, let them. Obviously, that's a joke, but the team did mention they've taken the feedback to heart and are working on it, so maybe the garden limit will at least increase in a future patch. It's at this point that I'll state this one is absolutely being awarded with the Pillow Fort stamp of approval. I have way too many hours to allow for any other rating, and I'll always advise that you only purchase games you feel genuinely resonate with you. But I know that this one resonated immensely with me, so take that for what it is. We need to give a huge thanks to the Garden Life team for allowing us a review copy of the game. You can expect future videos from us on it, both monitoring updates and patches into the future, or hosting the occasional stream to revisit the garden. Either way, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you go to stay updated. Now, we'll say thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.